Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 1 of season 3 of the F124 Might Driver Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on pre-season testing that went live yesterday, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out because of course today we are doing our very first ever race with Scuderia Ferrari Formula 1 team. Yes, maybe this is going to be the year we're going to hopefully fight for a title. Obviously, we've got Charles Leclerc alongside us working within the organisation, but a wave of new rules are certainly going to make things very, very difficult over the course of the campaign. We can only apply one upgrade to the car each and every month, and at the moment, it doesn't even look like I can do that, because currently all of the other upgrades are unavailable at the moment as well. There, so plenty of work needs to be done over the course of this season. I am really excited though to get things started. I'm also really interested to see how we're going to stack up against Charles Leclerc as well over the course of this season. Get yourself subscribed if you're new around here. We're trying to hit 140,000 subscribers at the moment. And yeah, quickly actually, a massive thank you to all of you for helping us surpass 130k. But let's head out then onto the Sakir circuit to kickstart our life as a Ferrari Formula 1 driver.
A new day has dawned, a new season has begun. 2024 has started and the competition is desperate to take the fight to Red Bull, and it starts here in free practice. So much unknown before we get underway. So what will be going through the drivers' minds as they get ready for the new season?
The faster you can work around the circuit conditions and get the car tailored to your liking, the better, and then you can just focus on the job in hand in terms of lap times. But first of all, you've got to get the car feeling right.
Well, you would never guess that Ferrari is sponsored by HP, would you? I can already, I think, count at least 4 logos on the front of the car. It is slightly different to Haas. I feel like, yeah, this car, probably the real estate on it for sponsors is probably worth slightly more than what we saw on our American car last season as well there. But yeah, this first round is just going to be really trying to get up to speed, learn the differences between this and our old team. Obviously, working together with a new organisation is always a very interesting battle in the world of Formula 1. And of course, especially going up against Charles Leclerc that is so well embedded within this organisation. He's already got the better of Sainz before. He's already got the better of Sebastian Vettel before and Yuki Tsunoda. He knows how to get the most out of this team, who to go to when he wants things changed as well. So we've got to try and fight against all of that, but maybe we could be the ones that bring Ferrari a world title. Obviously though, this season there is less emphasis on free practice earning those R&D, because obviously there are only so many upgrades we can do, so I'm going to slowly start phasing these out of the edits. But yeah, round 1 of the year, of course, you got to know how we're settling in, and immediately we get a green score.
Under the bright lights of Bahrain, it is time for qualifying. Grid position up in the air. Who is going to seize the moment?
I must admit, it does feel very special to be driving for the red team, and it really does suit this Bahrain circuit as well now the sun has set as we head into qualifying, of course. A bit like free practice, Q1 shouldn't be much of a worry for us. If it is, then I don't think we're going to be staying with Ferrari for very long inside this series, but I'm going to try and immediately go out on a set of the medium tyres for our Q1 run. Hopefully we can immediately make it through and into Q2. Obviously we did get that 1 pole position for Haas before we left, but hopefully pole position or being in the fight for pole position
into P16 now.
It's going to be a lot more of a common occurrence. There is Max Verstappen, a bit of a lock-up at the top of the hill. Fastest in winter testing, but seems to be struggling this weekend. Making our way then down in towards the final corner. Fred Vesti in that kick Sauber just ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. So everybody else though trying to finish off their qualifying laps. They're right up towards the exit curb. And that final turn up towards the line. We're going to do a 28.8. Only good enough for P13. We were on the mediums though. But we might just have to do a soft compound run. But it's a bit of a shame then that there's no kind of risk of, you know, a car crashing at the end of qualifying or anything like that, or yellow flags ruining your run here inside this game, because I think it would add a little bit of extra intrigue right towards the end of a qualifying session. Charles Leclerc currently top of the board, but all eyes on Max Verstappen, who I think now has immediately put himself back into safety. But he was down in the drop zone after the first runs. As you can see, we were about a second off on our medium compound tyre, so this is going to be a much better representative as now Oscar Piastri top of the board. McLaren, Ferrari and Red Bull, all three teams that we expected to be in the fight, immediately look to be right on top of each other. I'm not quite finding all of the lap time I would want out of this car here, but of course it is only Q1, and the top goal, of course, is just to make sure that we see ourselves into Q2. Down in the drop zone though, so we do need to make sure that we finish this lap. One more corner to go, tip it in. Just struggling a little bit to spot my braking point. Need to be braking slightly earlier than I am at the moment into most corners. Half a second up though. We end up, I think, about P8, as apparently I sit a bit higher in this car, so I can't see where I end up qualifying. Well, there we go then. We did end up quicker than Max Verstappen, so he wasn't as safe as we'd originally thought. I think it was actually Carlos Sainz that originally gone fastest on the board there, but McLaren looking very racy. Sergio Perez as well looking very racy. Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, the two rookies, and Zhou Guanyu out in Q1. Fred Vesti, I think, will be a little bit gutted to be so far away from the rest of the field. Behrman as well, 7/10 slower than Alex Albon. Well, Q1 was a bit more scrappy than I would have liked, so as we make our way out into Q2, I want to just tidy up the lap times and make sure that we're down in the 27s. Yeah, down in P15 at the moment, but that's because we're the only driver that hasn't done a run just yet. Yeah, I think a 27 would immediately see us into Q3. It's still definitely struggling with the balance of the car. It's trying to lock the rears up in a couple of places. And yeah, the front brakes as well. If you try and lean on them too much, then you seem to find yourself understeering out wide. It's going to be a tricky car to kind of work out. Setups are going to be different to what we saw on the Haas. That thing was one of the slowest cars in a straight line. The Ferrari has no such problems. Actually, the fastest on default setups inside F1 24. So we've got to try and remember that and brake accordingly. Keep it tidy then, keep it tidy in towards the final couple of corners. We're 3/10 up on Pierre Gasly at the moment, so this would put us right on that 127 cusp. Gasly doing a pretty good job, of course, now having to carry that hassle on the one team now I've left. Pretty tidy line out of the final turn, right on the throttle, open up the DRS on the run to the line. 27.7, that's what I'm talking about. Purple final sector, quicker than Leclerc. Unfortunately, though, Verstappen seems to have found what he's doing again. And there we go, Q2 times on the board, so we are 1/100th of a second clear of Charles Leclerc at the end of that session, but Max Verstappen, half a second clear of anybody else. Looks like Mercedes, or George Russell at the very least, has a bit more pace. You know, these first couple of rounds are really just going to be sort of seeing what happens. Sainz, though, 16 thousandths of a second slower than Sergio Perez, as Daniel Ricciardo in the sister V-Carb fails to see Q3. We're trying to be strategic with our tyres throughout the other sessions to make sure that if we got to Q3, we were going to have 2 fresh sets of the softs ready to go. Then I'm sure we're going to see Verstappen probably into, or at least very close to, the 1:26s. But are we going to see anybody else join him, or at least give him a fight, a run for his money here in Bahrain? First lap getting underway for us. I just want to keep it fairly tidy. I want to make sure we get a time on the board, one that we can chase on the second run. I'm immediately learning, yeah, this Ferrari car, its brakes are not its strong point at the moment. Definitely going to have to try and put a lot of development into those, figuring out how to tune the car around it. Seems to like to lock up really early on corner entry and then just provides instability, lack of confidence right the way into the apex of a corner. Lando Norris on a 27.8. Good time in Q2. Not enough in Q3 there, as through the final corner again, just overcommitting on the entry. Try and get on the throttle on the exit. It is going to be a 27.5. We go P6. But yeah, Leclerc definitely clear of me at the moment. And with a 127.1, it is Charles Leclerc at the top of the board right now, but he has used up all his sets of tyres, so he's going to have to wait in the pit lane to see if anybody is going to snatch that away from him. Fernando Alonso currently joining him on the front row of the grid, but we need about another 3/10 if we want to get in that fight. I reckon it's in the car, but we've just got to nail it. almost locked the rears up down at turn 1, but we managed to just like catch it and drive the car through the exit of the corner. Say, this final lap is like taking risk. We want to try and get as close to our teammate as we possibly can. Not too worried if we end up messing up this run, as long as I know that I gave it my all. Very ragged through the chicane. That might be enough to cost us, though. Still pretty close on the money right now. So we really try and carry the car through turn 9 and turn 10. You can use that curbing on this year's game. We're even as we make our way down the back straight. I certainly don't think we're going to get close to Charlie Boy, our teammate. Yep, maybe, just maybe, this is going to be Ferrari's year. But are we going to be able to find a little bit more through the rest of the lap? It doesn't really look like anybody else has improved here right towards the end of the session, so not really sure what's going on with that. Maybe everybody just finding the limit. Maybe track temperature just working against us all. One more corner to go. Hopefully if we keep it tidy, we'll find a little bit more time, which we will. Up towards the line then, we're going to improve by about another 1/10 of a second. Where's that going to leave us on the grid though? I think it's P4. Well, there we go. Charles Leclerc ready to kick off the new year with a fantastic pole lap here in Bahrain. Fernando Alonso though, maybe, just maybe, Aston Martin are back this year. I think had we not made that mistake through the start of Sector 2, we probably could have got the jump on Verstappen, but I don't think we would have been close enough to our teammate or the Spaniard there at the front of the field. 5 thousandths of a second, though, in it between ourselves and Oscar Piastri, so I'm happy that we did finish the lap. Meant that we were ahead of him and Sergio Perez there in P6. But for the first time ever then, it is race night here in Bahrain for us, and we have got a championship rival in a teammate.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best, of course, at turn 1 and then another soon after into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and it's Fernando Alonso alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Mr. Monaco, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Norris, Hamilton, Russell, Sainz, Stroll, Gasly, Albon, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Ocon, Behrman, Joe, and Frederick Vesti. That's it then. It's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me is Anthony Davidson. Well, welcome back. After all the testing, the build-up, it all now comes down to this.
Everyone's G'd up for this one. They've done the testing, like you say. The drivers will be revving inside, heart rates going, trying to burst out their chest at this moment. With that anticipation, who's got the speed? We're going to learn now, once and for all.
Well, here we are then, trackside for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and, well, like I've said, it's pretty special, especially when you look down in cockpit camera and see that prancing horse on the steering wheel. But Charles Leclerc, our teammate, stole the show on Saturday. Are we even going to be able to really fight him early on this year? You know, I think Charles Leclerc is maybe a level above Nico Hülkenberg, especially inside this game. In terms of strategy, though, the team want to do a 2-stop, and that is the most Ferrari thing I have ever seen inside F1 24. That is definitely not going to be the way I want to go about things. We're going to try and opt for a 1-stop there. The game might not be showing it, but yeah, we're going to try and do medium to hard and see as to how we get on. If we're lacking the pace against Charlie, then hopefully our tyre wear saving skills are going to come into fruition today. But yeah, Alonso on the front row ahead of Verstappen and ourselves there. For the rookies, it is just about getting through this opening race. And the other thing I'm concerned about, in both Season 2s of this and the My Team Career Mode, we had a power unit failure here. I'm hoping that does not happen tonight. Let's do this thing, though. It's time for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Waiting on those 5 red lights. A new adventure about to begin. And it is going to be lights out, and away we go there, trying to avoid too much wheel spin in the launch there. As Oscar Piastri immediately is going to look down my outside in turn 1 toward Russell. No, that's Hamilton, sorry. He's trying to look down my inside as Oscar Piastri clearly doesn't spot him there. Bit of contact, and I think we came off worse in all of that, as annoyingly, yeah, Hamilton way too aggressive into that first corner.
See if it takes too much damage.
3 wide again as we make our way to the top of the hill there, but we fire it in far too deep. Up at the top of the hill, Oscar Piastri has to give me the room that time round, as Hamilton, I think, has just about backed out of it, but we have sustained damage off the start. Far more importantly, though, for the team, look at the gap. Charles already breaking free at the front of the field there. Not too sure how much this front wing damage is going to cost us early on in the stint, but already, yeah, our top 4 cars getting very, very spread out off the start of this race there. Rogue moves by Hamilton. Oscar Piastri clearly just not anticipating that the Mercedes man was going to be that aggressive down in towards the first corner. So yeah, really not ideal for us. And we might have to try and get our defensive shoes on very early on here. But Charles Leclerc leads the way. Top 5 remain unchanged. Hamilton was the big mover in all of that. But we hang on to P4. Well, I think very, very early on then in this race, we're going to learn just how disappointing it is when you don't have DRS around this venue. Down the inside goes Oscar Piastri in a pretty simple move back down towards turn 1. Again,
Lost the position, try to keep focus.
yeah, I'm happy just to try and stick with the McLaren early on here. That front wing damage might only be light green, but it really does make a difference still. Something we've said for so many years now on the F1 game, is Hamilton, trying to have a look down the inside as well. Clearly already knows he's in my head after that turn 1 shenanigans, but I don't want to lose too much to Oscar.
Verstappen's in first place.
Well, Mark's already lying. It is Charles Leclerc still in first. How on earth can he get something that basic wrong? Well, I'm not really sure what we can do, whether we could box early or something like that. The one stop, we know just how difficult it is around this circuit, even when you've got an entire front wing intact on the car. We've already lost the range now to Oscar. But yeah, top end speed, like I said, very, very competitive. Charles Leclerc still pulling away at the front of the field. I certainly think no matter when we pick, changing the wing is going to be critical. Here comes Lewis Hamilton then down the inside in towards turn 1. Of course, could have been his seat down at Ferrari, but apparently didn't want it after Mercedes returned to winning ways in recent years. Whether we'll see him make the move at some point in the future, only time will tell.
They're holding us up now, so let's please try and get past as soon as possible and get on with our race. Push, push.
Oscar Piastri, though, apparently now we've got to try and overtake him, despite the fact I've got a 7-time world champion between us. Well, obviously, yeah, opening round of the year, you do get to learn a lot about the car you've got underneath you, which you certainly couldn't gather from, winter testing data. Ultimately, I'm learning 2 other things. Tyre wear is not good. This thing is sliding around all over the road, and we're already on lap 6. And already we've got 51% tyre wear on that front left. Annoyingly, yeah, that front wing damage on the side of the car that the tyres take more of a beating anywhere here. But ERS management, actually very good. This thing charges up its battery pack very efficiently. Unfortunately, it's kind of not making much difference at this early stage of the races. Hamilton down the inside of Oscar Piastri. Order Russell is going to try and have a look down the inside of myself there. I just saw even more carbon fibre getting flicked up. So clearly Hamilton has been told that he can just go aggressively as he likes in the opening round of the year. Mercedes, though, we didn't see it in winter testing. We didn't see it in qualifying particularly. They've not got a bad race car. But tyre wear warning light has already flashed up, so I think our dreams of a one-stop strategy here are completely out the window. What I'm going to do then is trying to hedge my bets. So we're going to make the switch to hard tyres now. I'd say I don't think we'll be able to get into the end, but they should give us a better idea of how things are looking towards the end of the afternoon.
Targets for now, we've got to focus on the pit stop.
Yeah, we need to move over. We need to get that wing changed on the car as well. I think, yeah, if we can score points today, it'll probably be quite a good result after everything that's happened early on. Pretty clean, tidy pit stop by the looks of it. It's Esteban Ocon clearly in the wars.
Go. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
It's also a bit weird being right at the start of the pit lane now rather than right at the end of it. So that's something we're going to have to factor in as well. For example, Italy.
One stop left in this strategy.
Some of you guys obviously might remember that in Italy last season we were able to gain loads of places when everybody pit under a safety car. Racing for Ferrari, the opposite would obviously be the case now, so those little things we're going to have to factor in. 14 seconds, though, to Esteban Ocon at the road, and we're going to be waiting to see when other drivers box. There we go, already then, just one lap later on, seeing a few more cars into the pits, so we're not going to be in last place for very long in this race, which I suppose is certainly a good thing. We're going to be just ahead of Carlos Sainz. He was admittedly fighting in around that top 10, so hopefully points are still going to be possible today. So we got our first yellows out. I think that's the other V car, but Daniel Ricciardo, that's gone for a spin. I think he should be able to get back on the road, though. No! Oh! It's Max Verstappen that's gone for a spin, so he's going to try and get back on the road. What happened to the Dutchman? Well, riding on board then with Max Verstappen, he's just made his way out of the pit lane then on a fresh set of the hard compound tyres, and like everyone has seen so far, got to be really careful to try and build up some temperature in them. Not if you're the Dutchman, though, or if he is trying to build up temperature. It is certainly a weird way of doing things there. Straight off into the gravel he'll go. Luckily, we'll just try and get the car tipped back round, but can't rejoin, as other cars making their way by, and Max Verstappen, not the ideal start to a championship defence. Oh, looks like one of the kicks hours has already gone, though. That might be Fred Vesti, with a very, very quick retirement from his first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix. Yep.
Right, they've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
Well, not ideal then for any of the Ferrari-powered teams. In fact, we already know one of ours has gone up in smoke yet again. Whereas other cars heading back out of the pit lane. Back inside the top 10 will go. Only just admittedly ahead of Lance Stroll. But yeah, we've got to wait for this race to come back to us. A safety car later on could be really useful. Well, as things just starting to calm down then for a few laps, it's actually nice just to be able to kind of think and breathe rather than having, worrying about the DRS off the car in front or trying to focus on defending from the car behind. Looks like, we're just pulling away from Carlos Sainz slowly as Hulkenberg into the pits. That means, Pierre Gasly, he got overtaken last lap by Charles Leclerc. Gasly in his first ever race for Haas led, which is quite impressive. So clearly, flying high and carrying on that team's good performance that we saw last year. I've just seen Alex Albon is on a set of softs, so Williams are clearly trying to throw caution to the wind. But yeah, Leclerc already has got a dominant lead. Him and Alonso so far in front of the rest of the runners. Oh, there we go, Gasly, second Haas car into the pits, so we're slowly moving our way back up the order. Don't quite know where Verstappen is now in the grand scheme of things. I don't think he's a million miles away behind us. But I mean, if Leclerc could leave here with a 25-point lead over the Dutchman, do exactly what he did in 2022, hopefully this year he can actually, keep that lead for a bit longer. It seems that if you're a current or former Ferrari F1 driver inside the top 10, you seem to actually be enjoying yourself right now. Every other car seems to be battling each other, with the exception of Leclerc, myself, Alonso and Carlos Sainz. So this is working out really nicely. We're taking good time out of Perez and Russell, just strategically each and every lap. Hamilton, Norris and Oscar Piastri as well, still continuing to trip over. That's not the line I needed out of the final corner, but we might still be able to one-stop this race. These tyres only at 31% wear. We're kind of just waiting to see if we end up with a safety car. It does usually happen. Oh, okay. Charles Leclerc back into the pit lane then. So that's earlier than I was ever expecting. Unless he's done soft medium and is now going on to the hard tyres for the rest of the Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso, though, back to the front of a Formula 1 field. Something we don't think we ever said over the course of last year. But is this a pure Ferrari strategy?
You smashed it. Really good job on hitting that target, mate.
So I think I was right, Leclerc has done soft medium and now has moved over to the hard tyres for the end of the race. Don't really want to hold up my teammate too much. We'll try and utilise him to the best of our ability. But he is going to have cold tyres off for that restart. No, he's not. Immediately he's going to be trying to go on the offensive. Is he going to get close to me up at the top of the hill? Not quite there. We'll get out of the way. I don't really want to fight him too much. Charles Leclerc, he is certainly the #1 driver for now. Would rather not upset, the big red team on race 1. Well, I was hoping we could use Charles Leclerc for a little bit more DRS than I've been able to. That was one sector, and easily the least important DRS sector of the lap. We have got more cars into the pit lane, though. Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Fernando Alonso. I'm still wondering whether a one-stop is in fact going to be viable here. might boost us a little bit further up the order. I mean, even if we just stay out and hope for a safety car or something, I think it's a gamble I'm prepared to take. And are we going to see the rest of our front runners into the pit lane then just one lap further on? Perez, Russell, and Oscar Piastri all into the pit lane then. So Ferrari, for the first time this year, and hopefully not the last, we have got a 1-2.
A bit low. Look into changing your ERS mode in the MFD for a more conservative burn rate, or you might want to try some lifting or gentle braking to recharge.
I'd rather Mark didn't talk to me through the corners. It is still very difficult to try and get good throttle pickup. As look at that Haas, up to 4th and 5th. A safety car now. That would be beautiful for them, or even a red flag. We're trying to do some loose maths in my head. I think these tyres are going to be up around the 75% mark come the end of the race. The bigger question is, you know, those McLarens that are closing in behind, are they going to be able to get to me? Alonso, yeah, we're going to lose the spot to him.
Much better condition than yours. We'll need to keep an eye on their times.
Yeah, Alonso is going to jump me. I already know that's going to be the case before the end of the afternoon. It is those McLarens just under 12 seconds back with 8 laps to go. We could still be in a fight with them before this race is down and out. Well, Norris now has got the jump on Oscar Piastri a little bit further behind, so I think McLaren have finally worked out what we're doing here and have kind of had to try and get their ducks in a row if they want to challenge us towards the end of the afternoon. Alonso, though, he's not my fight, so I'm going to try and use him strategically here, claim the DRS off the Aston Martin, and try to sit in for as long as I can behind. All those little bits of time, really, really useful towards the end. As Carlos Sainz, no! Looks like our second mechanical failure of the day.
They're retiring from the race.
And it is unfortunately going to be the Spaniard that falls victim to that mechanical issue. Max Verstappen given a freebie later in the day, because that would have been quite embarrassing for him had he lost to a V-carb car to kickstart the year. But yeah, McLaren 8 seconds behind me with 6 laps to go. We're just trying to use the DRS off of Fernando. Well, Mark just came over the radio telling me Lando Norris is going over a second a lap faster than me. Normally, that would really worry me. At the moment, I actually think that's fantastic news. I don't think McLaren are quick enough here to get to me before the end of the race, depending on how badly the tyres fall apart. Admittedly, yeah, that front left is taking more of a pounding than I thought it would. That seems to now be my line through that final corner as well. We just keep locking the rears and try and catch it on the throttle on the exit. But yeah, it just makes you wonder, had we not had that front wing damage, could we have been in the fight with Alonso towards the end of the day? Charles Leclerc, on the other hand, though, no one really looks to have been able to fight him, as again, more rear locking down at turn 1.
Box.
No. Mark doesn't quite get the idea, so he's really embraced Ferrari strategy logic here, hasn't he? 3 laps to go. The team still want me to pit. I am just starting to worry, though, that this is Kimi Räikkönen Nürburgring 2005 vibes. Well, just over 1 lap to go then, and now I'm just starting to get a little bit nervous. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri just outside the DRS window still, so at least they won't be close back down in towards turn 1, but I really don't want to jinx it, because we have still got one more circuit.
Really good job with that target, mate.
Mark, we've got bigger things to worry about. But if we can bring home a podium in our first ever race for Ferrari, I will be very, very happy, especially when you consider everything that has gone on throughout the course of the afternoon. Hamilton, with that banzai attempt down at turn 1, the front wing damage, the absolutely appalling tyre wear throughout the first stint. I certainly don't think we would have recovered this well had we stopped this race, so it was a gamble that up to this point I think was still well worth taking here, but we have now got Lando Norris breathing down my neck. So he would love a podium as well to kickstart the year after both of us failed to see the checkered flag last season. Oscar Piastri, is he going to be able to do anything from 5th place as well? We've just got to really refocus on our exit off of the corner there, but you can see Lando looking left, looking right, trying to make something happen here. So we're just going to drain the battery down this back straight. Surely the final danger zone of the lap is going to be the very last corner. Speaking of which, our teammate heading into it right now, Charles Leclerc. What a way to kickstart the new year. New teammate alongside him, but pole position and race victory. He has looked absolutely in control right since the checkered flag on Saturday night there. One more corner to go, here in Bahrain. We're just going to try and position ourselves a little defensive from Lando Norris. Can we get the throttle down up towards the start-finish line? Will it be our first podium in our first drive in red? I think it will, as Piastri jumps Norris on the run to the line.
Yes, and that's a podium. Excellent drive. The whole team have worked especially hard this weekend, and that, my friend, is a fantastic reward. Well done.
The man from Monaco will win again. Charles Leclerc takes the checkered flag.
Well, you're always unsure of the competition and what your opponents have been able to do in the off-season, but they've come here today, they've delivered the performance that you dream about, and wow, did they make that car sing today. Really impressive stuff.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
Well, I think as season openers go, it can't have got much better for Ferrari this weekend. It wasn't quite a 1-2, but a double podium is not bad going there. And Fernando Alonso, a former driver, of course, took his first win for Ferrari on debut all the way back in 2010 here at this very circuit. Charles Leclerc, 10 seconds clear at the end of the day. Normally, we'd moan about domination inside this game, but when it's not Max Verstappen, you let it slide every once in a while there. Fernando Alonso P2, the one-stop did work for us in the end, as Piastri pipped Lando Norris behind me on the run towards the line, so I don't know whether there was a little bit of coordination by the team there. Maybe Oscar was told to hold station, and if Lando couldn't get the jump on me, then he would be allowed the place back there. Hamilton in P6 ahead of Perez, Russell, Verstappen, and Lance Stroll rounding out the top 10 there. So your big 5 teams picking up all the points to kickstart the all-new campaign. Further down the order, Haas's alternate strategy didn't quite work in the end, and it was, yes, Sainz and Fred Vesti who both failed to see the checkered flag. That means for the first time ever, I think, in this series, Ferrari on top as well in terms of the Constructors' Championship. McLaren ahead of Aston Martin, Mercedes and Red Bull there, but yet VCARB, Williams, Haas, Alpine and Kick Sauber still yet to get off of the starting blocks. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready at the Jeddah Corniche, the track obviously where we took a win last year. Could we take our first win for Ferrari this season?